Maroon 5. Maps. Friday morning in beds, Herts and Bucks. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith. At 11 today, I'll be dealing with your consumer problems, but getting so many calls at the moment on the subject of Christina Briggs. She's the 26-year-old. You may well have read about her in your newspaper in the last 24 hours or so, or even seen her on the telly. She's been everywhere. She's 26 and she's 25 stone. But she says she can't help it and she can't do anything about it because she can only afford to eat junk food. She told Closer magazine that it's just too expensive to eat healthily, and she says that she eats takeaways, chocolate and crisps. Well, do you agree with her? Is it expensive to eat fresh fruit, vegetables, meat and fish? Or is this woman just coming up with excuses? Do you agree with Christina Briggs that eating healthily is just too expensive? 08459 455 555. Sam Feltham from Smash the Fat did an experiment on eating for just £25 a week. Hello, Sam.
Hey, Jonathan. Good to be here.
Good morning. So, do you agree with Christina Briggs that eating healthily is just too expensive and that's why she's 25 stone?
Well, not at all. Not at all. As you said there, I did this just a week-long experiment just to see if I can kind of sustain myself on £25 by eating real food on a real budget. And it's more than capable of doing that. £25 per person, and then that came to around about 3,000 calories, because I'm a 6'2" guy, 14.5 stone, so I have to eat a considerable amount. But for somebody that's a little bit lighter, I'm eating around about 2,000 calories. You're kind of looking around about maybe even £20 a week. So it's more than possible.
What's interesting is certainly in one of the papers, the pictures of Christina Briggs in her kitchen. She opened one of the kitchen cupboards and it's just absolutely packed with packets of biscuits and chocolate bars. You know, she seems to have found enough money to stock up on that kind of food, but there's no nutritional goodness whatsoever, is there, in chocolate? It may be tasty, but it's not nutritious.
Yeah, this is the problem. So, having seen her on telly and in the newspapers and things, seeing that picture of her with those refined and sugary carbohydrates is the real issue here. So the reason that Christina is obese is because she's eating these sugary and refined carbohydrates, which is causing her body to grow. And like every other single biological organism, Christina will eat to her level of growth. So if she continues to eat these sugary and refined carbohydrates, she'll continue to grow. So she has to eat more. And so she'll have to spend more money on food. If she goes back to more real foods, like you were talking about there, in terms of meat, fish, vegetables, fruit, and it doesn't even have to be fresh vegetables either. It can be frozen vegetables, just as good and a fair amount cheaper, and they're less perishable as well in that fact. And then she'll spend less money on food, and then she'll probably have more money to spend on her children.
But you must admit, particularly with meat, the healthier meats are more expensive, aren't they? You know, if you go and buy if you go and buy like a chicken thigh, a chicken thigh is cheaper than a chicken breast, and yet a chicken breast is more healthy because it's got less fat on it.
Well, this is the other problem here, Jonathan, is that we've got into a place where we think that lower fat is healthier. And as he said there, the fattier cuts of meat are actually cheaper. But the evidence of the past 15 years through the randomized controlled trials is showing that a lower carbohydrate, higher fat diet is a healthier option, particularly for people who are obese and even type 2 diabetic as well. So Christina would benefit from buying the fattier cuts of meat, which are in fact cheaper.
My personal belief, I don't think this woman's ever seen a chicken breast.
Probably not.
I don't think. I mean, I feel sorry for her really, because I don't think she knows how to eat healthily. I don't think anyone's ever taught her, and I'm not actually surprised that this is becoming the norm, because when was the last time children were taught home economics? I mean, when I was at school, we had home economics, and we had a lovely teacher who used to teach us all about the basics of putting a meal together and how to, chop an onion and then add some mince with it and put a sauce with it and make a nice spaghetti bolognese, or all those kinds of things that we were taught to do. And I don't think children very often are taught that. If they're not taught by their mums, how else are they supposed to know?
Yeah, precisely. Health does really come from home made family cooking. If you just take the example, for instance, a regular chocolate bar is approximately about 50 to 60p. An apple is about 20 to 30p, depending on where you buy it from. And even then, an egg costs between 10 to 15p, even a free-range egg as well. And it's got 10 times, maybe even 20 times more nutrition than that, and it's just as convenient as well.
Sam, thank you very much. Sam Feltham from Smash the Fat did an experiment on eating on just £25 per week.